Baby, honey to my bun, listen up. This is going to be a little long one because it is a moment where I had this whole transformative perspective on something that just grosses me out. And I'm sharing it with you guys because I think that it's a really beautiful take on how you can see something one way and then just have your whole thought on the matter transformed to work out in your favor. And I think that that's how life works. And it's, again, an example of transformational coaching as I see it. So follow along with me. So Sundays are my day of recharge, and I love watching my favorite online pastors. I do it throughout the week, but Sunday is like overload. I intentionally overload, and I talk to God, and I'm like, yo, whatever it is that you want me to hear, help me to be open. Speak to me through these words. I'm listening to Jerry Flowers, right? He's one of my faves. So I'm listening to him, and he starts talking about how rats disgust him, or I'm paraphrasing, but he doesn't like rats. And then he gives a story about rats. And in the story, the moment of aha for him was about rats being a reflection of hope, how rats maintain hope and they're able to thrive because they have hope. And for me, he said the word hope, I heard transformation. And so I paused listening to what he had to say, because in that moment it felt like the thing to do. I felt like I needed to hear a word from God for myself about this. Like, why is this story sticking out? Because like during sermons, there are just some things that's just kind of like I'm listening to, and then there are other parts that's like, this is for you. The rat one was. So I'm like, all right, God, I don't even like rats. Like, this is legit me in my head with the conversation with God. I'm like, I don't like rats. The idea of even thinking about rats in a different way, not appealing to me. I also don't want to be disobedient. Like, any of my Christians out there, if y'all have this struggle, y'all know what it is. So I'm finally like, all right, God, what you got? Rats show up wherever there is human mess. Wherever we are in our messiest state, that's where rats are. They show up in alleyways that humans have neglected, that we haven't really taken care of. Trash is just thrown out in. They show up in areas where we dump our garbage and put our mess. They show up in areas where we have construction sites that's just full of mess. They show up in places that are unkept and untreated, not well maintained. And there, in those places where they show up, is also an opportunity for our greatest transformation. Because if we don't like them and their presence, then it is an opportunity for us to reflect inward and say, okay, well, what can I do differently? How can I move them out? And I'm like, okay, God, this is wow, that's a beautiful way to look at it. Rats show up in our mess as an opportunity for transformation, as a reflection of the points that we can transform. And I was like, all right, I can see how I can connect that. I can see how I can vibe with that. And then I asked in my prayer, I was like, God, make it even more plain. Because something that I don't speak that much about is growing up. When I was a young kid, I used to live in this basement apartment. And the closet was the place wasn't clean. But the closet in particular was like this huge closet, or so it felt to this small child at the time. And it was clothes everywhere, and it was a mess. And a rat would run in and out, right? I would see, I don't know if it was one or multiple, but I would hear them playing, but I would see like one. There's this image that I still have in my mind of just seeing one jump in and out of the clothes and running around me. And it was comforting at the time, which go figure, now I can't stand them, but that's neither here nor there. And I was like, okay, God, you're bringing me back here. It's still a little skeeved out, but make it make sense. Wherever you're taking me, I'm obedient, right? This is what I say in my prayers. And the next thing that comes to me is, you were your most open in that state to allow this whole concept of who you are to really show up in your life. You were in the middle of the mess. You were comforted in knowing that this is also a growing point. And so fast forward to today, God is able to show me that image and say, I transformed my mess. I was alone in a closet with mess, and I still felt safe. The rat was a reflection of, when you clean this up, opportunity awaits, which is why I connected the story back to transformation. Because when I think about my own life, it wasn't until I went inward and started to clean up my mess on the inside that my transformation came. And so how beautiful is it that the closet, the mess, and the rat on this day, August the 21st of 2022, has come full circle to show me, even back then, the symbolism of what God had for me in the future was present in my life. And back then, I wasn't afraid of the rat. And the fact that I wasn't afraid of the rat, I wasn't disgusted by the mess, is a reflection of my ability today. I'm not afraid to go into my mess or someone else's mess to help you transform how you see it. If there is a rat there and it feels uncomfortable, it feels like the part where it's like, oh, I don't want to deal with that. No, not going there. I'm like, let's go. Where the rat is where we need to go. Because where the rat is your opportunity for your biggest moment of transformation. And damn, what a fucking revelation. And you know what? I really got to do better with cursing and talking about the spirit, because I don't want to turn anyone off. I'm a work in progress. I hope that the essence of my message really resonated. I really, really hope it does, because I guess in the gist, and I'm even praying in my head as I'm taking these pauses, and I feel like, I just want to say what it is that I'm supposed to get across to you guys as clear as possible. But if I were to leave you all with one final thought, it would be just to reflect on how the part of your life that you feel most repelled by, that you feel like you don't want to go into, that closet that feels messy in your own life, that is the area of your biggest transformation. If I didn't go inward and reflect on me, I wouldn't be able to live the life that I live now and help support people in the way that I do now. So we never know what's on the other side for us. But I can tell you that your biggest mess is going to lead to your greatest transformation. But you got to go in there and address it. So look for where the rat is in your life. Touch that area. And never stop growing.